Dr. Christopher West here, Theology of the Body Guy. Today we're going to be talking about Lent. Why do we fast for 40 days? Lent, 40 days of fasting. To what end? Right out of the gate, we have to clarify that we fast not because we have something against physical pleasure, not because eating is bad or physical pleasure is bad. The Catechism tells us that we fast to prepare us for the liturgical feasts. We fast to get ourselves, you might say, extra hungry, extra ready for the feast. There's a rhythm here in the Christian life, a rhythm in the liturgical calendar itself of feasting and fasting. And you need both to appreciate what feasting is all about. Think about it. If you never fast, you never really feast. Or to put it in the reverse, if you're always feasting, you're never feasting. Fasting is all about preparing us for feasting. And here's one of my favorite things about being Catholic. 40 days of fasting get us to I don't have 50 fingers, but 40 days of fasting gets us to 50 days of feasting. The Easter season is 50 days, the Lenten season is 40 days. Let me share what light the theology of the body can shine on Lent. The physical is a sign of the spiritual. Physical hunger here can be seen and should be seen as a sign of a much deeper hunger. We do not live on bread alone, as Jesus reminds us, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. The goal of fasting is to learn how to feast on what we are really made for, the bread come down from heaven. When we're always eating, when we're always satisfying our desires for food or other physical pleasures, we can become numb to the deeper ache. We can become numb to the deeper hunger. St. Augustine says, "Yes, I will deprive myself, but only so I can delight in you." Fasting prepares us for feasting. It helps us to recognize that all of the pleasures of this world are not ends in themselves. Fasting rather helps us to recognize the pleasures of this world as little signs, little glimmers of another world, of another beauty, of another fulfillment, of another destiny. All the pleasures of this world are meant to be so many little signs of the delight that awaits us in the next. But precisely because these pleasures can give us a real taste of heaven, there's a danger that we treat these preliminary fulfillments or these little signs of ultimate fulfillment as ultimate fulfillment itself. We become ensnared by the pleasures of the world whenever we treat them as God substitutes. Fasting from food or from other earthly pleasures helps us to experience a freedom of heart here, the Catechism says. It liberates us from attachment to things. Let's be very clear here. Detachment does not mean we become cold or unfeeling to the pleasures and delights of this world. Rather, our pleasure and delight in the things of this world becomes purified. I'll tell you a story here. When I was a little boy, my parents took us on a vacation to California. We were in San Diego and they bought this crumbly, salty chocolate that had crossed the border from Mexico. It's called Mexican chocolate. And it had this kind of cinnamon flavor, and it was a taste that I never forgot and I never experienced again until a couple years ago I was giving a talk in San Diego. And afterwards, the hosts took us out to a really nice restaurant, and on the menu, I saw Mexican chocolate beer. I'm a beer lover. I'm a dark beer lover. And when I saw on the menu Mexican chocolate beer, I thought, could it be that there is a dark beer that tastes like that Mexican chocolate I had almost 40 years earlier? The beer came out, and when I held it up to my nose, I was like, oh, there it is. 40 years of memory came back. It was right there in that chalice. And I took one sip, and I knew heaven was real. The delight of that beer was a real taste of heaven. I allowed myself 2 beers that night, and at the end I thought, I gotta go find out where this beer comes from. I need to have it shipped to Pennsylvania where I live. This is like my new favorite beer. I can't believe I've discovered this. And as I was walking over to the bartender to ask him something about the beer, I realized, you know what? I don't need to grasp at more of this. That little taste I just got was all I need to know that heaven is real. I wasn't delighting less in that beer. I was delighting more in that beer, in that it was launching me towards the eternal chalice of Mexican chocolate beer, so to speak, that awaits me on the other side. That's what the pleasures of this world are meant to do. Yes, sacrificing those pleasures, it's a death. And Lent is helping us enter into the death of the Lord so that we can rejoice in the rising. That little taste in that Mexican chocolate beer, it was a certainty to my heart that there is a destiny for my thirst. There is a destiny for my hunger. There is a banquet that corresponds to the ache and hunger and thirst that's in me. Fasting helps me direct that desire towards what alone can satisfy it. And in turn, it helps me appreciate the things of this world for what they really are. So many signs, so many glimmers of the glory that awaits us on the other side. When we never fast, we end up positing our fulfillment in these pleasures. And that doesn't lead to fulfillment. It leads to enslavement. It leads to addiction. 40 days of Lent, 40 days of fasting, 40 days of sacrificing, it's really 40 days of getting in touch with the deepest cry of our hearts, with the certainty that there is an Easter banquet coming our way that offers us real satisfaction. I could say so much more about the desires of our hearts, how to experience this inner purification, how to direct those desires towards the real banquet. And I do say so much more in the courses that we offer through the Theology of the Body Institute. If you like this video, subscribe, share a comment, share this video with others who need to hear it. See you next time.